Okay, so we're back to regular Mishlei, and we have a double header today. Okay, this is 21, 25. Okay, Chaf Aleph, Chaf Hey. I think I gave you the right packets with the right psukim. See it there? Chaf Hey. Okay, yeah. Yeah, all right. So, yeah. So, Tavas Atel Tmisenu Ki Me'anu Yadav Lasos. Anyone want to take a stab at translating that? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the temptations of a lazy person should be killed out because they're not within his hand. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, yeah, it's a difficult lashon there. Okay, right. So interesting translation of tava as temptation. Okay, it's not wrong, but it's not intuitive. How would you translate tava?
Desire.
Yeah, right. So desire. So I'm going to put both here. So the desire / temptation, and I think we have other go-to translations for that we've. Have we had that pasuk recently, or that word recently? I don't know. All right. So the temptation of a lazy person.
I discussed it recently, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Also, of a lazy person, to me, senu will kill him. Okay. Ki me'anu yadav lasos. Because so me'anu, if you recognize this from Chumash, it would be with Yosef vayma'in, with the shalshelas vayma'in, to refuse, because his hands refuse to act. Okay, the desire of a lazy person will kill him because his hands refuse to act. Okay, that's 25, and then 26. So I'm assuming that these two psukim are to be treated as one long pasuk. And you'll see why, because it is the same subject and because there's no, it's the same subject and then there's no subject in the pasuk, meaning there's no like subject-object type subject in the pasuk. Kol hayom hisava ta'ava v'tzadik yitin v'lo yachsoch. Anyone?
All day, he desires a desire.
Yeah, okay, so that's the literal translation, right? All day he desires a desire, which obviously needs to be explained. And that's what I meant by there's no subject, because it says he. So I'm assuming, based on the fact that it says desire and the fact that it says the atzel in the first half of the pasuk, that it's talking about the same guy, right? So all day long he desires a desire, okay? V'tzadik yitin v'lo yachsoch. And
Tzadik gives him, presumably gives what he desires, and he doesn't. I don't know what yachsoch.
Yeah, so the only case I can think of that might be recognizable in the Chumash is with when Hashem tells Abraham after the Akedah, "V'lo chasach es bincha es yichidecha mimeni." Chasach, withhold. Right. Okay. So a tzaddik gives and doesn't withhold. Okay. So let me just read that again here. So tavas atzel timisenu, the desire or temptation of a lazy person will kill him. Ki me'anu yadav lasos, because his hands refuse to act. Kol hayom hisava tava, all day long he desires a desire. V'tzadik yitin v'lo yachsoch, and a tzaddik gives and doesn't withhold. Okay, so all right. So just our procedure here is that we translate it ourselves, and we do the minimalist meforshim, who are either the translators or the basically the translators or the glossary meforshim, and then we read 3 English translations just to get an idea, and then we do our analysis, and then that's the procedure. Yeah. Okay. So ordinarily you'd have this on the thing. You guys do have the Metzudas ציון though. So bottom left, he says it looks like there's only Metzudas ציון. Me'anu is lo ratzu. Okay. So he translates me'anu of refusing as they don't desire. Okay, so that's a subtle but important translation difference, right? Because me'anu means that you're saying no, whereas lo ratzu just means that you don't want to. Okay, and then yachsoch, as he says, inya mania, it means to withhold.
Well,
okay.
When you say no, isn't it because you don't want to?
Not necessarily. Well, we'll have to analyze that, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it means that you're not going to do it, but you can want to do something and then refuse. Right? Like you can have a,
But if you refuse, then you're ultimately choosing to not do it.
Right, but that's different than or it could be different than ratzon, right? Ratzon is a desire or a will. Okay, then we have Sad Yagon, who you probably have in the top right. What was that? Well, we can't find, if you see
The HDMI. Oh,
the
adapter.
yeah, we can't find it. So we're going back to the Stone Age. Yeah. Do you have a, yeah, okay, yeah. We're doing 25 and 26. Okay, yeah. So Sadi Gaon says, so just background here. So Sadi Gaon translated Tanakh into Arabic. And then this is a translation of his Arabic translation back into Hebrew, right? So you can see like the subtleties. So he says, Alula tabas ha'atzel lahamiso. The desire of a lazy person is likely to kill him. Okay, alula I think means likely. Mipnei sheme'anu yadav la'asos me'uma, because his hands refuse to do anything. In fact, I'm going to type this out here. So what did I just say? The desire of a lazy person is likely to kill him. Because his hands refuse to do anything. Okay, and then the second pasuk is Ella tarehu or tirehu kol hayom misavatavos. Rather, you'll see him. Hold on a second. I just deleted a bunch of stuff by mistake. I don't know what I deleted. Rather, oh sorry. This is Sadiq On, who is the top right on page Tough Reish Zion right now. Sorry, it's Rasag. Yeah. So Kol, what does it say? Oh yeah, Ella Tirehu Kol Hayom. Rather, you'll see him all day long. Misavetavos, desiring desires. Vatzadik nosnam lenafsho v'ena mona'am. And the tzaddik gives them to his soul. Okay, that's weird. Or himself, ve'ena mona'am, and doesn't withhold them. That's very strange. Okay, then we've got the Targum. So the Targum is on the top left or top right. Targum says rigsa da'atla memisale. So that's a literal translation. The desire of the lazy person kills him. Delot savian aidin da'avdin avidita. Because his Sava is, that's what I deleted. I deleted the I had the Jastro open. Hold on just a second. Let me just open this again. What was that?
To Caesar to bend.
To Caesar to bend. Yeah.
I just scratched that.
Oh, nice. Very good. Yeah. To Caesar to bend, or to find pleasure in, or to choose, or to desire. Yeah. So delot savian aidin da'avdin avidita, because his hands don't desire to do work. So that's like the Metzudas ציון said. Okay, so we don't need to keep this. And then kol yoma ra'eg rigasa v'tzadika yahiv v'lamachsef. Okay, that's just a literal translation. Okay, then we got the art scroll says, the lust of the sluggard will kill him, for his hands refuse to work. Okay, that's like ours. All day long he will court lust. I don't know where they get that from. Our scroll loves saying court lust. I don't know why. And the righteous one will give to him and not hold back. So they say the court lust, like to court, like when you court to date. Yeah. Or people say like they flirt with desire. You know, people use those terms. Yeah. Okay. All day long he will court lust, and the righteous one will give to him and not hold back. Okay, so they add in the words to him. Living Nach says the desire of a lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to work. He is seized by desire all day long, while the righteous man gives unstintingly. Okay, fine. And then Alter says the sluggard's desire will kill him, for his hands refuse to act. All day long he aches with desire, but the righteous gives unstinting. I've never heard the word unstinting until today.
What does that mean?
Well, stinting means a stint is like an interruption or a break. So unstinting is without ceasing, and then unstintingly is like the adverb form.
Like a waterfall?
Like a waterfall. Yeah, that's good. Hey Moshe, here you go. Okay, so we got our hands full, our not lazy hands full.
Yeah.
All right, so what are the questions here?
Well, first, can you translate? Can you just say the difference in Sadigan and how we were?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'm just going to repeat because Moshe just got here. So let me repeat the translations that we're doing. 25 and 26. We're doing 2 Pesukim today. So Tavas Atzel to Misenu. Our monitor is broken. That's why. Our Tavas Atzel to Misenu, not broken. The desire of the lazy person will kill him. Kime'anu yadav lasos, because his hands refuse to act. Kol hayom hisava tava v'tzadik yitin v'lo yachsel. All day long he desires a desire, but a tzaddik gives and doesn't hold back. That's us. Sadigon says, Alula tavas ha'atal lahamiso, the desire of a lazy person is likely to kill him, mipnei me'anu yadav lasos me'uma, because his hands refuse to do anything. Ella tir'ehu kol hayom mis'avetavos. Rather, all day long you'll see him desiring desires. V'hatzadik nosnam lenafsho v'inam mona'am. And the tzaddik will give them to his soul and not withhold them.
So it's interesting. Sadigon is qualifying his desires for the
He's qualifying his desires in the second part or the first part?
second.
Second part, misavatavos. How is he qualifying them?
Meaning like, because like if you didn't have like the second half, then you're really going to the question stages right now. Like,
Yeah.
what, desire for what? Like
Right.
desire for
Okay,
to
yeah.
be lazy or desires
Okay, good. So,
or
another procedure thing. So now we just raise all the questions and problems we can without giving answers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thought. And ordinarily we would have them all written all nicely, but you can't see it. All right. So the question is, say again, the question is, what is he desiring?
Yeah, what is he desiring?
What is the lazy person desiring in both halves of the pasuk, right? Because he's
yeah.
in both halves. In other words, which desire kills him, and then what desire is he desiring all day? Yeah, Moshe?
Like, does the pasuk give a solution for the lazy?
That's a good question also. Okay, right. So yeah, just let him die. Right. So what is the solution in the pasuk? Or sorry, what's the solution for the lazy person?
I'm actually going through that exact thing.
Okay, yeah, well, you're a second semester senior, right?
What?
You're a second semester senior. That's like the
Yeah.
classic time when people get yeah.
There's this thing where I have to do it every day.
Oh yeah.
In order for it to work, but I don't.
Oh.
I kind of like beat myself up over it.
Okay, there you go. Right.
But like, if I didn't want to do it in the first place, everything would be fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pause this for 1 second just to talk about about that question. Okay. So I know I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because I have to have a Kim in the Purim video. Yeah, is Rabbi Moskowitz and I were writing a book on Mishlei. This is my Mishlei Rabbi. So we were writing a Mishlei glossary, and we did one of the individuals we did was the lazy person. So we did all the psukim in Mishlei about laziness. And our goal was to learn all the psukim and then to come up with a unified theory and then explain them. So what was that?
Is that the weights?
No, the Atzel.
Yeah,
That's the one.
Atzel.
Yeah. So we learned through all the psukim and then and got a theory, and then we were going to go through it to record it. So he said, well, before we go through it to record it, let's go through it. Now that we have a theory, let's go through all of them with that theory in mind. So we went through all the psukim again with the theory in mind. Okay, and the theory changed. So then we're like, okay, now let's record it. So we record all of them. And as we learned through it the third time, it changed. And we said, okay, we'll do it a fourth time. And we went through it a fourth time. And I didn't change that time. Yeah, it didn't change that time. So what I learned from that was we all know that like learning is good and reviewing is better. But I thought to myself, okay, you review, but if you review everything a third time, like it's going to be pretty much the same. But like it wasn't, So we got through so we ended up doing all of them. And by the way, the results are on the old YBT site. I can send you the link. It's like a 6-part laziness series that we have. But the reason I'm bringing it up is when you do psukim about laziness is a huge Mishleic category. And one thing we learn is that not every pasuk gives you everything you want to know about the lazy person, right? So Moshe is asking a very good question, which is what's the cure for this guy? Our pasuk might give us a cure, or it might not give us a cure. We'll try to address it no matter what at the end, okay? But there's so many. I mean, this is true of. We saw this with the lates when we did the lates for a couple of weeks last week or 2 weeks ago, right? That there's so many different angles, and it's just important to realize that Shlomo might be addressing one specific part of the personality, not necessarily the whole thing. But it's a good question though.
There's a good quote saying it's like usually the antidote is like in the like poison or whatever. It's like you can kind of deduce like what the fix would be if you understand what the problem is.
Correct. Sometimes you can do that, but there's actually I'm thinking because there's the Meiri. The Meiri says, quoting the Arabic proverbs, that the question is half the answer.
Right.
Similar to what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Ali?
What is the tzaddik doing?
Okay, yeah. That's to me, that's the most glaring thing. Okay. What is the tzaddik doing here? Okay, like practically and like not thematically, like subject wise, right? Like this is about a lazy person. First of all, the lazy person is not usually contrasted with the tzaddik. The lazy person, who do you expect the lazy person to be contrasted with?
Lazy people.
Diligent person.
diligent people, right?
Yeah.
Contrasted. Yeah. Right. So diligent people, or you often see in Mishlei, the lazy person and the chacham are contrasted, whereas the tzaddik is usually contrasted
Or at
with
least a
Rashayim. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So he's not even the opposite. Yeah. So another hand up. Yeah.
It seems like the Berushim are split on like is he refusing to do work? Like is he motivated to not do work, or does he just not want? Is there like a lack of motivation?
Okay. Yeah. So let's ask a separate question, which is what does me'anu mean? Refusal or lack of desire?
What's
Yeah.
killing him? It's not using.
Okay, yeah. So let's divide that into two questions. Okay. What does killing mean in this context? And then how does his desire,
Or his laziness, his lack of desire.
his no, so it says his desire kills him. Not even, so that's the interesting thing, right? Tavas atzel temisenu. So the desire of the lazy person kills him.
Yeah.
Now in the second pasuk it says all day long he desires desire,
Yeah.
right? So but the direct statement is the desire itself kills him, right?
Yeah.
And then the ki me'anu yadav lasos also implies some sort of causal relationship with that and his
Right.
desire.
And that desire is to be lazy.
We're not sure, so that we have to ask
Yeah.
also. Okay, hold on just a second here. So how does his desire kill him? Okay, and then did we ask what his desire? Yeah, we did. Did I not list it? Hold on. What is
the first question on the show?
What is the lazy person? Yeah, what is he desiring? Yeah, Arya?
Yeah, the other question is, it's interesting. Like, why not just say that the lazy person will kill him? But the fact that he's being lazy, what's the skittish and his desire?
Yeah, right. So I'm going to add that to here. How does his desire kill him? Why not just say that his laziness kills him, because his laziness presumably is related to his desire and is the cause of it and is the cause of him not acting.
I guess my question is also like a lazy person himself will kill him because his hands refuse to act.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Or
that's just the nature of being a lazy person.
right. Or the refusal of his hands to act. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Please go. Yeah.
Are tavas like, is that, are those necessarily negative? Like have a
Yeah. So let's actually add that as a first question. Yeah. Sure.
Go on that.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the Sajid saying that the tzaddik like takes his desire and puts it into his soul. So
Right.
he's still like engaging in desire.
Okay.
But it's how they engage in that desire that determines.
Okay. Good. So I'm going to say, what does tava mean in this context? And then what is the connotation? Or in other words, is it positive or negative? Fun fact, which is also a relevant fact, not just fun. Anyone know where in Chumash it uses the phrase hisabu ta'ava? No.
Isn't it Torah?
No, it's in Sefer Bamidbar.
By the
Okay.
month?
By the Slav. Yeah, by the Slav, right? So it says V'ha'asaf suf hisaba ta'ava, that the mixed multitude hisabu ta'ava, and then that's when they were asking for meat, and then that's when the Slav came and they all got killed. So there,
right?
what was that?
The quail you're talking
The
about?
quail, yeah.
Oh,
So there it is negative. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's negative here, but like I don't even know if that's the only place where it uses hisabu, but that's like what comes to mind. Yeah.
Right. That's what my rabbis just talk a lot about, how that like it was considered spiritual food. And so they missed being, and so it was like they would eat it, but it would be like they would feel hungry for physical hunger.
Yeah.
They wanted to feel, because they missed being hungry.
Uh-huh.
Like it wasn't like
Interesting.
they were, like
Okay. I mean,
the contrast of like, because if you're hungry, then you
Yeah.
feel that desire. So
I don't think you can. I think that was the whole lesson of the month, but right, that that these physical desires can't be fulfilled.
no, right, but
Yeah.
that's the point. It's like there's a cycle of like you're hungry,
Right.
You eat, it feels,
Yeah.
you feel full, and then it goes back to,
Mhm.
and you get used to that, like
Right.
and then you get used to like, oh, I like having this famishment that I get to like quench every so often.
Right. If need be, we'll have to see if we need to look into what they were doing there. Yeah.
Can I give an idea / answer one of the things?
Nope, not yet. Yeah.
I have another question.
Oh, sorry. Just 1 second, David. Yeah.
Kind of seems like lo yachsoch is like it's the same bad midah. Like if the pasuk read kol yom tava tava v'lo yachsoch, like that
Right.
midah is not. That's kind of an
Okay.
laziness midah.
Okay. So the question is, what does lo yachsoch
That doesn't belong with it.
mean, right? And how is this a quality of a tzaddik, right? Lack of restraint, right, usually is bad. Lack is usually indicative of some sort of foolishness. Lack of restraint is usually indicative of some sort of foolishness. Yeah. Okay. Was there another question that someone said? Oh no, David. Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah. Where does this desire stem from? And two possibilities: just like regular desires, or is there a desire stemming from his lack of action that he then wants to be doing things? Okay, so let me put this question as a separate question. Okay, what is the cause of this desire? And then I'm going to put this as part of the question. What is its relationship to his hands refusing to act?
Idle hands.
Idle hands.
Cyclical.
It does seem cyclical, right? But the pasuk though says it one directionally though,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it does seem like that. Yeah.
Another question is, when it comes to the tzaddik, who is he? What is he giving? Who is he giving?
Okay, good. What is the tzaddik giving, and to whom? Yeah. And what does it mean that he doesn't withhold? Yeah.
What do we say below Yachsoch is?
Yachsoch is he does not withhold.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, like you saw that the art scroll, is it the only one? Yeah, the art scroll translated it as will give to him,
Right.
and not hold back. But the puzzle doesn't say that, but it is a possibility that it's describing an interaction. But that would also be weird, that
give to
the lazy person.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if Hisabu Tava is negative somehow, and the tzaddik is just like giving to him.
Right. Is it also contrasting this as him saying that the lazy person does withhold?
That's a good question also, right? So because we can infer that the tzaddik is not lazy,
Right.
but what does lo yachsoch imply about the lazy person?
Right. Also with the giving. Because it's seeming that the lazy person is not doing anything with his hands.
Right.
Not going to give.
Correct.
Where does lo yachsoch refer to the lazy person?
No, he's saying
it's on the tzaddik. The tzaddik eats into lo yachsoch, but it's comparing it to the
right.
So how do you read?
So kol hayom hisav tava. So all day long, the lazy person desires a desire. The tzaddik eating lo yachsoch, but the tzaddik gives and doesn't withhold. So does that imply that the lazy person, does withhold, like he gives but does withhold, or does it imply that he doesn't give? Usually you're just in opposites. Then you would think that that you can assume that about the lazy person. Yeah.
Just to show the word in different context, you say achsoch kesef, like to save money. It kind of means like to save up. So in that way, it's less of a bad thing. Like,
because you can take care of that outside, right?
No, it was my alarm.
Oh, your alarm. Okay, yeah. Say again.
Then it's not a bad neither. Then it's like he saves up.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Is that a modern Hebrew phrase or is that a biblical Hebrew phrase?
I think it's modern Hebrew.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know. I'd have to see what the connotation is, which I don't even know. Like I only literally just know the Abraham thing of not holding back. Oh, actually, no. We've seen another pasuk in Mishlei, I think last year on Monday night shiur of holding back in speech, but I don't remember. So we'll have to see that if we get that far. Okay. Other questions?
Who's the audience?
Oh yeah, who's the audience? Yeah, who is the audience? And so this is going to be essential for Moshe's question, which is that if this is telling you how to cure laziness, so then it would stand to reason that it's directed at the lazy person, but then like if this is seems like the tzaddik is doing good stuff here, so maybe this is for the tzaddik, but then why do you need the whole other 3/4 of everything? Yeah, let's go.
No, I can wait until he finishes.
So another question, all day he's desiring his desires.
Yeah.
Is it the same desire or is it just desiring
Okay,
desire?
right. So we had a question which was, what is he desiring in both halves? And then I'll say, is it the same desire he's desiring all day? Right. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so in the earlier thing you were saying about how he, without limit he stopped, or that he gives without withholding.
Yeah.
It seems like the withholding is it also kind of like there's two parallel, like opposite things in that like he's desiring without desiring. He's not withholding his desire either. So his withholding is coming from not withholding himself. The other guy he's not withholding, but he's not withholding for his own sake. He's not withholding for others.
Okay, I hear that. Is this a new question or is this already
I'm
an approach?
asking if that could be a proper like interpretation of like that the way that he's desiring the first one is like an almost like a they're both like almost an opposite like directions, but
right.
I don't know.
So no, tell me if this is what you're asking, is that the tzaddik is giving without holding back, and the lazy person is like taiva-ing without holding back.
Right.
Like, I think that's a reasonable explanation. So there it wouldn't be the opposite for the not withholding. The opposite would be the giving versus the desiring.
Right.
Yeah.
Two more questions.
Yeah.
One, what's the act that he's refusing?
Okay, that's a good question also. No, we did not ask that. So hold on a second. I'm just gonna put this in order here.
26
From 25. Yeah. So what are his hands refusing to do? So Sadigon answered that by saying he's refusing to do anything.
Right.
No, I think he's asking though.
Oh, Sadigon, sorry.
Yeah, right. He's asking, and yeah, Sadigon says me'uma. He adds in the word me'uma, which means anything, right? So he's not refusing, or they're refusing to do anything. Whereas it could just be a specific thing. Yeah.
And the other question is, can you have a tzaddik who's also lazy?
Okay.
Is that possible?
It's a good question. I mean, the pasuk would suggest no because they're opposites, but
I mean, are they really?
Well, I mean, he's saying that the tzaddik
it's contrasting it. Pasuk is contrasting.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Practical applications also.
Yeah. So who's the audience and what are the practical applications?
Can you just can you just explain how it's a contrast one more time?
Well, that's the structure of every Mishlei pasuk, right? Is the fool does this, but the good guy does that.
The contrast is
Kol hayom hisav tava, but the tzaddik yitain v'lo yachsov. Yeah.
So pasuk chapei, that's just one pasuk. That there's no. Is there?
So chapei. See, when I used to teach this. Inshallah. When I used to teach this, I would teach Chafei on its own.
Right.
But then I saw when I was preparing it over the weekend that most of the meforshim are are taking them together. So I'm assuming that they're going to take it that like it's painting a fuller picture of the lazy person.
Right.
But really it's like lazy person versus tzaddik.
So the contrast is literally the first 3/4 of the
is all about the lazy guy. Yeah, exactly. That's how I'm learning it. I'm not saying it's the only way to learn it, but
Instead of period, I'm just looking at it's a semicolon.
Yeah, it's a semicolon, correct. Yeah.
Oh, a comma, not a period.
Oh, that would be a comma.
Okay.
Oh, you mean after 25. Okay.
You got spliced. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we ready to have ideas? You were first up.
Yeah, I forget. Let me remember what the idea was going.
Okay, sure. All right. So now we open the floor to answers or ideas. I mean,
can you just give a quick? Because it's not on the thing.
I know. It's hard. Yeah.
Can you give really quick just the first translation?
Yeah. The desire of a lazy person will kill him because his hands refuse to act. All day long he desires the desire, and the tzaddik gives but doesn't withhold. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think on the whole desiring aspect, it's highlighting that you don't just neglect your desires because the tzaddik engages with them. I mentioned it kind of before that he gives it to his soul and he doesn't withhold. But it seems that the lazy person doesn't give them to other people, doesn't have desires to help others. It's a desire to either not do something or to only benefit himself.
Okay, so let me just hearing the second half of what you're saying makes me think I've misunderstood the first half.
Okay.
So let me just ask on the first half.
Okay.
Just make sure I understand this. So you referenced Sadigon.
Yeah.
Okay. Who says that the tzaddik gives them to his soul and doesn't withhold, which seems to be that the tzaddik does not withhold from giving into his desires.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But then, so what I expected you to say was that the lazy person, that he has these desires which he's not giving to himself.
Well, not to his soul.
To his soul. Okay, fine.
So not to his soul, but to himself.
All right. So that's where I was missing it. Okay. Yeah. So soul and self might be different things.
Okay. So I'm the tzaddik is guiding his desires toward a better thing.
Okay.
His soul, perfection.
Okay.
And the lazy person is not. He's guiding it toward more laziness.
Interesting. Okay. I hear that. I was inspired by your approach, by a more base practical thing, but that's good for now. Yeah.
So if
For
I
us,
have another question thrown in with an idea.
Yeah.
But, it says that his hands refuse to act. Why not? As opposed to just saying that he
Okay. All right. That's actually a question we forgot to ask. This is a big one that the meforshim go haywire on. So, so the question is, why? Yeah. So, like, what does it mean that his hands refuse to act? Hands don't have will, right? It should say that he refuses to act. Now you could answer it by saying it's a figure of speech, right? But then you have to explain, why does it ascribe desire to the hands or refusal to the hands?
I was very easy to answer that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's, because maybe you could say that hands compared to feet is, when you use your feet, maybe like walk and get up and get something that's like more distant. But with your hands, it's more closer. It's
right.
It's like even more of a lazy person.
Isaac, is that the puzzle we did last year with the lazy person, that he puts his hand into the dish and then doesn't even put it back into his mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's the.
What if the lazy person not even move his feet to go do the act?
He's saying it's an even more extreme thing. Like
that's not use your hand.
Right, like you might think the lazy person just doesn't get up and do what he needs, but he's not even going to use his
He
hands.
won't use his foot to get the controller, but he won't even use his hand.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the I don't remember the specific idea, but that was the idea of the hyperbole, that he puts his hand in, in the bag of chips and is too lazy to even bring it back to his mouth. Now, no one's actually that lazy, but Miri says that's like a derech guzna. That's like a hyperbole to show that like he's, yeah.
Okay, but then why still focus on the hands and not the person?
Right. So I think I do think.
I'm just explaining hands. I'm not.
Yeah. No. So I mean, Ariel, I think is giving an answer to that, which is that it's showing the extent. It really does mean the person, but it highlights in terms of hands to show that he can't even like do stuff that's within reach. Yeah. Because
on that, hands are like our instruments of how we get things done.
Yeah.
All of our planning and everything else happens with our brains, but as far as how we actualize and express things, it's with our hands ultimately.
Right.
And for like manipulation purposes, like you need like dexterity, right?
Right.
So
comes from hand, right? Manipulation.
Get anywhere, but I mean, even that, as far as once you doing it, you
Yeah.
can tell someone else to do it, but there's a point where it's got to be, if it's you, then it's your hands. Okay, so this kind of turns it on its head a little bit, and it's almost like part of what is killing him about these desires is that he doesn't ever act on them. It's like he doesn't,
right.
They're just there in potential.
Yeah.
And desires, I think all desires they're like neutral inherently. Like it can be good or bad. They can maybe even be good inherently, but if you don't use them, they fester. And so the adopting, it's like, okay, he is failing to do the thing that he was given a responsibility to do, which is why he had a desire. Yeah. And now it's like something that's he's using it for his own whatever, for an unintended,
Right. Yeah. So just I want to ask about the neutral thing. So what point is it making about the? So you're saying that any desire doesn't really matter. Whatever he needs to do, he's not going to be able to do it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. I mean, it's not that he won't be able to. It's that the fact that he doesn't, is what is causing him to like. Yeah. It's this desire to just turn into a bad thing. It's a toxic thing for him. Okay, so that's where I thought you were going. Okay. Yeah, you can. Can I? Yeah, let me just elaborate really quickly, and then. So the what I thought this was about is, I think when we talk about laziness, we usually talk about the fact that the lazy person will not do things that he's responsible for doing, or things that are like good. I think this pasuk is talking about the fact that he's not even going to be able to fulfill his own desires. Yeah. In other words, that he thinks that by wherever he thinks. He's familiar with the notion that because he's lazy, he's not going to be able to make money. He's not going to be able to like go to school, whatever he's like responsible for doing. But the point is that like he is going to have unfulfilled desires all day long because his laziness is preventing him from even like doing what he wants to do. Whereas the tzaddik doesn't have that problem, and that's why I was learning nafsho as not nefesh as in like, your non-physical self, nefesh as in like nefesh habahamis, right? Your animalistic soul, your pleasure-seeking part. That the tzaddik will be able to give to his soul, like his desires, and not withhold from them because there's nothing binding his hands from doing that. That makes sense. So you're going to normally use nefesh to being your animal soul.
Yeah. I mean, we went through this. Nefesh could really mean whatever you want it to mean, right? But the and I think that's the chiddush here, which is that again, this is giving a very Mishleic explanation for why you should not be lazy, which is you're going to be in a constant state of pain.
Yeah.
Right. And it's giving a weird Mishleic, a good Mishlei perk of being a tzaddik, which is that, usually Mishlei advertises the righteousness or justice aspect of tzaddikim. This is saying, no, your taiva life is going to be great, right? If you're a tzaddik, because there's nothing that's going to be preventing you from like giving into those desires.
That's what I meant also by like the cyclical nature.
Yeah.
Of, like, because he only addresses that you have taiva in the first pasuk.
Right.
It says taiva of taiva.
Right.
And the next, I think it's like basing on like this initial taiva of just not doing anything.
Yeah.
What is this? So just ציון of like lo ratzu, who doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Which then leads into like not doing any desires. So
right.
He has a desire to not do anything. So then it goes on to all this.
So I also think is a different interpretation. Okay. Maybe. Well, when you say he has a desire to not do anything,
yeah.
What do you mean?
He has a desire to not act.
He has a desire to not act. Okay, fine.
It doesn't seem very lazy to have a desire to not act.
No, that seems what laziness is.
Laziness comes from the desire to be comfortable.
It's just his nature,
right? You're bothered by having to move because you like the state you're in. Like inertia is a desire.
I just feel like
so did we even ask the definition of lazy? No, we didn't. Right? No. We're not responsible.
We're being lazy.
What is the definition of lazy in this context?
I
I'm going to hear what you had to say, and then I want to drop a bomb to end this year with, and then we'll continue tomorrow. Yeah, Mario.
My question on that was, I thought we said that lazy people do, they fulfill their desires. Didn't we say that?
This pasuk is saying otherwise, right? Sounds like it. Okay, so let me just call on David. We'll have to continue tomorrow, but I'll drop the bomb. Yeah, David?
Okay, not particular to this pasuk, but when we have this lazy person that's not acting, not doing what he wants to do, what makes the lazy person not do what he sees a good in? Like he sees a good
question also.
Whatever he's looking for, and he's not doing it.
So I'm going to partially answer that question with a bomb. So I've dropped this bomb before, right? So this is the Sadigon laziness bomb, right? So anyone remember Sadigon's definition of laziness?
I don't.
And we might not have done it. Okay. Yeah, you remember?
Yeah, inability to overcome short-term pain.
Yeah, the way I say it is the compulsive need to avoid all immediate pain and conflict.
Right.
And this is a different definition of laziness than what most people think. Because most people think laziness is a lack of desire to act, or they don't want to work, or right. He's saying that it's the immediate conflict and the inability to tolerate that. Right. That's laziness. Yeah, the compulsive need.
The compulsive need
to avoid all immediate pain and conflict. And he says it's the opposite of tava, which is the compulsive need to pursue every immediate pleasure.
Right, that's
the compulsive need to avoid all.
But they're opposites, though. Lazy person is the opposite of a tava person. In other words, if you have a conflict, so let's say we were in this
short term, like temporary.
Right, short term, right. So the test case here for the is that let's say you have an immediate pleasure in front of you, but then it also is going to require some immediate pain.
Like that study they did.
Yeah, with the marshmallow experiment.
Yeah.
So the lazy person will not get the pleasure, even though he really wants it, because he doesn't want to face the pain. Right. And the taiva person will break through that immediate pain in order to get that immediate pleasure. So the lazy person is inhibited from fulfilling his desires. Okay, let's think about these approaches, and then we'll never come back to it tomorrow. Okay, hopefully with the monitor. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'll look downstairs later.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
I'm assuming because this was brought downstairs.
Yeah.
All
right. Thank you. All right. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.